Hi, Philip. Very
Hi,
nice to
Sonja.
be together today for a change and
I
to
agree.
speak about our mini series of international expansion topics. Today, we picked a really interesting topic, I think.
Yes, misclassification of personnel definitely is something that's very relevant and across different markets, as you know. In different markets, you have different rules, but all of them try to distinguish really between a employee
Yeah,
and a true contractor.
yeah, yeah.
What's your experience?
Yeah, definitely interesting topic. In my experience, the biggest challenge lies with the managers who don't know about misclassification of personnel. So, if I go back in my career, we had one example where we brought in a manager as a contractor. And then, of course, that manager was supposed to show up in the org chart, to do performance reviews, to decide on salary increases for their team members, and all of that doesn't work. So my experience is you have to really start by training the managers so they understand also from a legal viewpoint what misclassification of personnel is. And I don't know, Philip, from a legal viewpoint, there's obviously a lot of rules when it comes to misclassification of personnel.
Yes, and in most jurisdictions that we talk about, whether it be the US, the UK, European, continental European jurisdictions, there's some set of rules
Yeah.
that will make that distinction, govern that distinction
Yeah.
at a very high level because we, speak at a high level. There's most often two criteria, really. There's control
Hmm.
over that person or absence of control, and there's a degree of being embedded in
Yeah.
the organization that
Yeah.
sort of makes the
Yeah.
distinction. And that can be many different criteria, as you know. I mean, one is the direction over the time and the place
Yeah.
where the work will be done. Another is the tools. Are the tools provided
Hmm.
by the the employer, or are they provided by the person themselves?
Yes.
Exclusivity is a big one.
Hmm.
Are they free to work for others as
Yeah.
well? Also, the just the extent of their work. Are they working basically full time for that one
Yes.
company or
Yeah.
for others? So many different
Absolutely.
topics. I'm
Yeah.
sure you have in your experience and
Yeah.
others.
Absolutely. And I think even to the point where you're not even allowed to invite your contractor to a company event or, a year-end party. Also, you have to be very careful with that.
Yes.
And so from my experience, it's also a real problem if you use the same contractor continuously for, let's say, 3, 4 years and you
Yes.
never change, because that resembles very much an employee relationship.
Yes, and in some jurisdictions, you have actually fixed time periods,
Hmm.
and after that sort of a lapse of that time period, the quote unquote contractor will, by law, become an employee.
Hmm.
Other jurisdictions are a bit more, vague about that. But yes, for sure, if you have someone who's been working for you continuously for a long time, that very, very clearly indicates that there may not be a contractor or an
Absolutely.
employee.
Yeah.
And the risk of misclassification then really becomes one of you owing back pay of benefits, owing back pay of
Mhm.
payroll tax, and also running the risk of getting fined for it.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, for our clients who expand internationally, it is a great way to just get contractors on board very quickly without having to employ in the first place. But I would say it's always wise to do a due diligence on the roles and make sure that certain roles are just basically permanent employees that you bring on board
Yes.
versus the contractors.
Yes, and think about it as sort of testing someone and testing a market as a temporary measure.
Yeah.
Unless it's if it's real, entrepreneurs, freelancers, one-off projects,
Yeah.
then you can do that over time. But if you want to integrate them in your organization, and really they, for all intents and purposes, become part of your team, then having them as a contractor is really only something for a short temporary solution,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
and and not for more because you're
Yeah.
creating. yourself. So
Absolutely. Yeah. I think, my recommendation would be there are quick tests online as well that you can do. And the HR teams should establish a catalog of criteria and run through.
yeah.
And also, you're really safe with contractors if it's real project work. So I think for project work, I can always recommend falling back to contractors who might bring in additional knowledge that you don't have in your company at the moment. But you have to be aware of your control level. So,
Yes, exactly. Be mindful of the
yeah,
distinction and keep it in mind.
yeah.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
Well, interesting topic today, and we will
Definitely.
see each other again for the next series.
I look forward to
Thank you,
that.
Philip.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.